Hi everyone, welcome to Tom's Manshed. Okay, today's video is on replacing a noisy fan in my Elegoo Neptune 3 Pro 3D printer. Now, I recently did a review of this printer, and if you haven't seen that, I'll stick a link to it up here, this card. It is a fantastic printer, and as I said in the video, I don't think there's a better bang for buck printer around. Loads of great features: magnetic bed, direct drive, print head, loads and loads and loads. They're all explained in the in that video. But after having only had it about 4 weeks or so, the fan, the front fan, that's the cooling fan at the bottom, at the front of the machine, which is the one for the circuit board. There's another one at the back on the power supply, but it's the one for the circuit board at the front, has gone very, very noisy. And it's definitely a bearing problem. You know, when the bearing is going in a fan, it starts making all sorts of horrible noises. Like, have a listen to it now. I filmed it when it was in its noisy mode, and just listen to the noise it's making. So as you can see, pretty horrible noise. But it didn't do that all the time. Only when it first starts up. When you first switch the machine on, the power supply comes on at the back, but the front fan doesn't come on. That only comes on once the bed is heating and the hot end is heating and the printer is in use, because then it's using power, the circuit board is getting warm and needs cooling. Before it starts heating, if you just leave it turned on, that front fan never comes on. So like I say, it's when it kicked in that I heard that noise after just 4 weeks or so. So I took the fan out, and it's dead easy to do. It's just 6 screws. I'll show you now how to take the bottom plate off. It's dead easy. Okay, so this is the bottom, and it's this fan here at the front of the machine that's the noisy one. So this is like the main circuit board. It'll be in here, and obviously that's the power supply one behind. That one at the moment is still quiet, although I suspect it's of the same sort of probably poor quality. So it just seems that there's this one cover, and there's these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Phillips head screws to remove, so we'll just take them off now. So as you can see, dead easy, just these 6 holes here. The fan mounts to this plate with these chunky type fan screws, the usual type. Take them off. Now, when I took the fan out, and this is the fan, you can take all the details off it there. Brushless fan, they're all brushless, this sort of fan. I thought, normally these fans, it's a sleeve bearing fan, just a cheap bottom of the range, run-of-the-mill fan, and they've got what you call a sleeve bearing. There's 3 sorts of bearings. There's sleeve bearings, which is just a sleeve, like a bush that it goes through, a ball bearing or twin ball bearings, and then there's a fluid hydrodynamic or whatever they call it, but the fluid one. The sleeve bearings are at the bottom of the range, but they can be slightly quieter. Now, usually there is a little bush sort of thing right in the middle. This is the one I've had a go at getting out. All that gouging is my attempt on getting that bush out. So as you can see, it does not come out. If you can get that out, you can put a little drop of oil, light machine oil, like 3-in-1 oil, whatever, and that does stop that bearing doing its buzzing noise. I've tried that before on computer fans and it's quietened right up and it's lasted the life of the fan. Sometimes it runs out, you've got to do it again or replace the fan. Sometimes it seems to have lasted the life of the PC. So what I did, I emailed Elegoo, and I'll tell you at the end of this video on Elegoo's service and what it's like and how quick you get parts from them. But they sent me another fan. But meanwhile, I sent off for these from Amazon. Now, it's a pack of 4. They just came in a pack of 4. I'll show you exactly on Amazon. So these are the ones I got. This door here, fan, 60 by 60 by 10 mil thick, 24 volts. So important that, 24 volts. I'll go into details about that later. Replacement ball bearing fans. So these are ball bearing type fans, and they come in a pack of 4 for £8. So only £2 each for a ball bearing fan. So it wouldn't add much to the price of the printer, but they're the ones that I got. So they came the next day, but I thought I'll wait before I put it on till I see the fan that Elegoo sent me, because like I said, they agreed to send me a fan. Anyway, they sent me a fan. It's exactly the same as the fan that was in it, which I expected. And you can see a bit clearer on here. That centre hub. You can see there is a ring there as if it comes out, that cap. But it doesn't. It doesn't actually come out. So you're unable to oil or whatever that. The ones on these, the pack of 4, the ball bearing fans, you can see on them, the bit in the middle there is a shaft with some sort of bearing through it. So yeah, I take them at their word that it is a ball bearing. But even if it wasn't, at least you could get a drop of oil on there if need be in the future. Okay, so I'm recording this again because, as you can hear now, you're hearing a lot more background noise because I've got the noise cancelling turned off on the mic. I did all this a while ago, put the whole printer back together again. When I come to edit it, you couldn't hear the fans because I'd got the noise cancelling part of the recording on. So I've turned off noise cancelling so you can hear the fans running. So this is just to show you the difference between the two fans. And then something else I found out of how they sound when you put them on the actual metal back. So you'll have to excuse any clunks and clangs that you normally wouldn't hear because no background noise has been filtered out now. So here's the old fan. Like I said, I was going to do a benchtop thing with a dB meter, but it's irrelevant really, the dB meter. It's what the ear set, what we hear with the actual hearing. So this is the brand new Elegoo fan that they just sent me, that just came. And I'm going to put 24 volts through that. So I'm going to hold it the same distance for both fans and then keep quiet while you sort of like analyse the noise. It's going to sound a lot, even now it'll sound really loud. I can't hardly hear this at all. So it's just to compare the two, but they don't sound anything like this in real life. I'm going to hold it really close up to my Samsung mic. And it will sound loud, but it's just to compare the two different tones really. So here we go, this is the Elegoo one. And this is the ball raced one. And again, as I've done later on in this video, I'll sort of cut these two tones and just do your snippet from each one and go straight from one to the other, one to the other, one to the other. So this is the ball race one that I've decided to fit, because to my ear there's not much difference. And I'll hold it the same distance from it. So that's that one. Now, like I say, I'll split these up now and do one by one so you can tell the difference. Let's have a look at that now. Okay, so you can definitely hear some difference between the two there. Now, one thing I did notice is the difference in volume when you've got it screwed to the base plate. Like I say, it'll sound incredibly loud now because I've got no noise cancelling and it's pretty sensitive mic. But when I added this to here, just listen to the difference in volume, and I reckon it's because of these things here, this baffle here. If I could cut that out with a Dremel, which I could, I would, but I don't want to do anything to damage the actual printer while it's under warranty in case it ever had to go back or whatever. So when it's a year old, I'm going to be tempted to cut that out because you can hear the difference as I hold it up now. Just listen to the difference now of the volume increase when this touches this metal. So you can see a lot different. So a lot of that is the resonating through this, and a lot is because it's been baffled by this bit here. So what I'm going to do, instead of fitting the original screws back, just to give it some insulation between the plastic of this and the metal of that, I'm going to use these things, and I got them with one of the Noctua fans I had. It's hard to focus on that because it's so small, but they're just like a rubber grip thing, and all you do is put that through there, like that, through the fan. And then you can, oops, I'm going to turn it off. And then you can just pull this rubber bung thing. And as you can see, it's only on one now. That has held it on there. So you just put 4 of them in. You could do it from the other way as well, I think. But you put it in and then you pull it up. And that little ridge at the bottom there pulls through and grips it. And that one I just saw these in a drawer and I thought, oh, I'll try them. I presume you can buy them separately, but and that's it. So then 4, and that fan is on there pretty solid now, they're holding it, but there is that little bit of a gap underneath that's insulating it from the noise and isolating it a bit, and I suppose every little helps. I don't think it'll make that much difference, but yeah. And of course them things, if they did touch any component inside on the circuit board, it's not going to make any difference. So that's instead of using the 4 little black grub screws. So I've got to put that on now. Okay, so the machine's back together now. We're back on noise reduction for recording my voice, so hopefully it's sounding a bit better. I've decided to keep the ball bearing one in it because it's hardly any difference in the sound. And hopefully it'll last a bit longer than the other. They're not going to be great quality. They're still only £2 each for them fans, so they ain't going to be up to Noctua standards. But hopefully, being ball raced, it'll last a bit longer than the other one did. So yeah, so let's have a look at that video now that I shot earlier on. This is the dB meter measuring the sound of them actually in place, which is the sound that matters. Holding it here to the mic and that doesn't give you a real feeling of how it is in the machine, but these are the two measurements of it and snippets of it back to back of the old and the new in the machine itself. Okay, so the noise you can hear now is with the front fan running as well. So we've got both fans going. The front fan has got a tiny whine to it. At the moment it's not in its buzzing mode. It's not in its really worn out knackered fan mode, but that's only a matter of time before it fails. But you can hear a slight whine. Well, that's coming from the front fan, so we'll see what the sound measurement is now. So now we are around about 56 decibels or so. And now this is the new one, the ball bearing one, just measured a few minutes ago. Okay, so this is the new ball raced fan in it now, and again we've got this set up exactly the same. The legs are touching the cupboard. That is exactly in line as it was before. Everything is exactly the same. And before we were getting about 56 dB. So let's see what we're getting now. So as you can see, about 57. So as you can see, 56 before, 57-ish after, only 1 dB. It's hard to tell, like I say, 1 dB sounds little, but it can be quite appreciable increase sometimes. But I'll put on now, it's hard, like I say, to tell the difference between the two, old and new. There's nothing really in it. But I'll put now sort of like a blip of the old, blip of the new, blip of the old, blip of the new, and you can tell the difference between the two when I do that. So yeah, very, very similar, but I think the old one, even though it was a decibel lower, has a slightly higher whine to it than the new one, and the new one, although being louder, being lower, lower bass-wise, not as high-pitched, sounds more pleasant, but very, very similar, and you'd never know the difference if you couldn't hear them side by side. So there it is now, the new fan is on. I've put, like I said, a ball bearing type fan on because I think that's going to last longer. I don't want that going again in a couple of weeks and me having to do it. It's not a big job, as you see, to swap it. And maybe the one Elegoo sent me would have lasted months, years or whatever, but I feel more confident putting the ball race one on, even though it is slightly noisier. Now, to sort of get into more detail about them, as you saw, it's a 24 volt fan. Now, you've two choices when you come to replace that. You can either replace it with another 24 volt fan, which is the easiest one, same size, just plug it in and out, or you can go to a 12 volt fan and put a thing called a buck converter in. Now, this is a buck converter. Again, I used these when I did my Creality CR6 upgrade and silencing the fans. Again, check up here, the card up here, full details how to do that. But the thing with the Creality was people had printed on Thingiverse different enclosures, different housings for them, which could take a much bigger fan. So you could fit, say, a Noctua fan at 12 volts, because there's hardly any choice of 24 volt fans, particularly of this size. If you look yourself on Amazon or eBay or whatever, there's not that many fans 60 by 60 by 10 mil thick, and it can't be any thicker because it touches the circuit board, of 24 volts. There's a lot more at 12 volts, But even then, some of the good ones, like the Noctua, are thicker. They're not 10mm thick, they're like 15mm thick. And they're usually bigger as well. Instead of 60, they're like 120. The bigger the fan you can fit on, the better. But the bigger the fan, the quieter it is. It's the small ones that are noisy. The bigger ones can turn it a bit less revs. You can pump as much air through as a high speed spinning small one, but they're dead quiet. So the beauty with a 12-volt fan is you've got a much bigger choice, and you can put one of these things, like I say, a book converter on, and it's DC to DC. You can have your 24 volts going in, and then you can drop that down to 12 volts to power your new fan by adjusting this little screw with a voltmeter connected to it. And they work great. Give off a blue light so you know they're on, and it works fantastic on Micro Reality, and that is silent as a lamb. You just cannot hear the fans running. You just can't. Only the hot end fans, which I haven't replaced, but the fans underneath you just cannot hear running. My old CR10, which had the separate box on it, was as noisy as hell from new. But once you'd done the conversion by putting a big, instead of two small fans, one for the power supply and one for the motherboard, you did a conversion that put one big fan on, twice the size, 120mm fan, much thicker Noctua. You just could not hear it at all. So why manufacturers like Elegoo can't put either a slightly better quality fan on, or B, just stick to 12-volt fans and do a bigger one. Maybe do one that cools the power supply and the circuit board, like it did fantastic on the CR10. If not, just, you might have to increase the height of the printer by 5mm. I don't think anybody's going to mind that, but that opens up such a scope to put much better fans on. And I bet you any money that most people buying a new printer, I know people have said in comments, yes, it is built down to a price and so on and so on, but we're not talking adding loads. As you can see, you can get 4-ball race ones for £8, £2 each. So to put like a fluid bearing fan and a really good quality Noctua, it wouldn't add that much in relation to the thing, and you'd end up with a beautifully quiet machine, and it'd be a fantastic selling point. Anyway, that's my just point of view on it. So yeah, the new fan is on now. Hopefully it won't cause any more noise. I'll see how loud it if it does start annoying me and that, and I'll keep my eyes open. I'm reluctant to do anything to a printer while it's under its warranty that is major alterations. So I don't really want to. It's pretty quiet as it is, so I'm quite happy now. But I dare say in months and years to come, as they get more popular, people will start doing even quieter prints to do on Thingiverse that holds a bigger fan. At the moment I've looked, the stuff for the Neptune 2, there's not a lot of stuff on there for the Neptune 3. A lot for the hot end and the part cooler and stuff like that, Pet's Fang type things, but not for the housings underneath that contain the fan for the that we've replaced today. So yeah, if that ever does come available, I might very well do that upgrade and do a video on it. But for now, it was like just a quick by my standards video of just how to replace that fan. So I was going to tell you how good Elegoo were, and they were pretty good. I've had problems with Creality in the past, and they are not the best company for customer care from my experience. Ages and ages to answer an email and then getting no response and banging your head against a wall. With Elegoo, the timeline was I first let them know about this problem on the 26th of March. On the 27th by an email, 27th of March, they replied asking me if I could send them a video of the noise, a video of it happening with the noise, which I did. The 28th, they got back to me the very next day, saying, yes, we've had a look and sent our engineer, and it is a faulty fan. We will send you a new fan. It will be 10 to 20 days. I thought, well, no mad rush. The old fan was still working, so that's fine. March the 29th, the day later, they sent the tracking details. And then it arrived, today is the 12th, it arrived yesterday, the 11th of April. So that means from first contact, first email to getting the part was 16 days. Which ain't bad at all, really, since it's a Chinese company, and if you've ever had AliExpress, Banggood, stuff like that, and like I say, things take weeks and weeks and weeks. So I don't think that's bad at all, and they did reply to the emails the very next day every single time and gave me a new fan. So yeah, kudos to Elegoo, and yeah, do seem quite good customer care. Anyway, hopefully it's been of some use to this video. I'm hoping to do quite a few more things as things develop, things I add, prints I do, whatever on the printer. I've got something in line. Quite a few prints I've just done that I'm really, really pleased with. Little one there, and I think I showed you this last time, but I'll go into these in detail and show you the things. Some of this multicolour filament that I've tried for the first time. It's really, really nice. So loads in the pipeline for that. So hopefully this has been of some use. If it has, please give us a thumbs up. If it hasn't, by all means, give us a thumbs down. If you haven't subscribed, please do so by clicking the little shed here on the left, and once you've done that, click the little bell icon below and you'll be alerted to any new uploads. So once again, thanks for watching this one. Hope to catch you for the next one. Bye for now.